All right, it's your girl Duchess back on this Wednesday. Another YSL member, defendant, I'm sorry, not member, excuse me, is expected to plead out. So there will be another plea deal going on today. And um, yeah, I'm just hanging out and I want to see who it is. Who was it that made this plea deal? Um, while we're waiting, just want to kind of get your feel for, yesterday's events. Trying to get my bearing here and be ready when things kind of pop off. But while we're waiting, let's kind of talk about Montavious, Montavious Nichols, his plea, and some of the things that I've learned just in last night. One of the things that I learned that, and this is from Thugger Daily on Twitter, that their initial plea was like the initial um, plea prepared by the state, the initial offer from the state was something to the tune of 20 years. You know, you heard her talk about different other charges. If you've listened back to those videos, you heard her talk about other charges that would run consecutively. And so this was kind of the tone that, that was used with Montung, that was used with YSL Woody, like pack on as many, many years as you can in exchange for what they wanted. And what they also wanted from him was his testimony in exchange for his testimony. And shout out to him and Bruce Harvey, who got that thing negotiated all the way down. And notice there was not any promise of testimony from him. Another thing that I learned was he could have walked yesterday had he agreed to testify, and he did not. And he didn't agree to testify. So, in terms of the sentencing, and you guys, I just want to preface that a lot of what I say here, actually, all of what I say here in terms of commentary, this is just my thoughts as a viewer, as a person, a part of any community, um, and just from my perspective, with the idea that we are sparking conversations and can kind of get involved with this scenario, this piece, this arm of the puzzle that affects our community. So thank you for joining the live. We are waiting.
At Carolina Kia, we are built on family. When you come here, you aren't just buying a car or servicing your vehicle.
You're visiting family.
Every new vehicle
Another defendant is expected to plead out. And so we're just kind of waiting and seeing how that, just how that works out. Who is it that's going to plead out? But in talking about Montavious Nichols yesterday, in terms of how much time that he'll have to serve, so the other curve that I had no idea was that Georgia had an 85% kind of rule, I guess. So even with those 3 years, it still will be less than that because there's an 85% something that goes into there. So I've heard rumors of 6 months, 9 months, could be a year or so. I'm sure his attorney, Bruce Harvey, will continue to advocate for him if there is any stone unturned. I'm sure he'll do that. So, just wishing him well as he and hoping that his time goes by fast and that he is protected and he continues to build on what he's learned so far. Those are my wishes and my prayers for him. And I mean, I appreciate him standing 10 toes down, um, just from my lens on not agreeing to testify and having to deal with Moontunk and Lil D and Lil Woody and, all of those pieces and not having that obligation. Another thing that was very interesting to me when Bruce Harvey was saying that they take a word of the day and they work on that. And I spent that in a couple ways. Like, was it like a scripture, that they took and marinated on? Was it different rules? Like, just him not just being there to defend him on what the evidence says, just him willing to pour into him in that sense. So there's a lot to unpack with this case, and I definitely will be unpacking some things. Yesterday was very emotional, and we don't know what today is going to bring, but it sounds like another member has. Child, my pause. Let me make sure, because I'll be messing some stuff up. It sounds like another member has decided to plead out.
Ready for the new me. I'm chilling like an iced tea. Show off.
Girl, I hope I'm on the right day. Yeah, I'm on the right day. Woo! Ooh, the anticipation. I don't have the anticipation that I had yesterday. Ooh, I was going through it on yesterday. So I don't have that anticipation, but shall we in here? We're waiting. Definitely waiting because I was hearing that. What is his name? Okay, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Here we are. Let me mute the mic.
Superior Court of Fulton County is now in session. Judge Page Reese Whitaker presiding. Court come to order.
Good afternoon. So I understand we have a few pleas to be tendered. And are we going to do them at the same time or separately? All right. Are you ready, Ms. Vossi?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And who's handling this for the state?
Your Honor, it'll be Simone Hilton for the state.
All right. Thank you. All right, Ms. Ryan.
No.
Yeah, come up to the podium and then Sergeant Ingram, can you swear Mr. Ryan in?
You swear first testimony you give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
State your name and you might spell first and last name.
Rodalius Ryan, Rodalius Ryan, Ryan.
And Mr. Ryan, are you the same person referred to as Rodalius Ryan on indictment number 22 SC 183572?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you at this time under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
Currently 20 years old,
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you are charged in this indictment with count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, which carries a sentence of 5 to 20 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to go over this plea of guilty and waiver rights form with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you and your attorney both reviewed it and you signed this document?
Yes, ma'am. That's my signature.
That's your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Ms. Leah Abbasi, about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding charges in this indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to speak with her about any potential defenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need any more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No.
Are you satisfied with her counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
You also had another attorney, Ms. Angela D. Williams. Are you satisfied with her counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you waive any defects, if any, with respect to the indictment?
No, ma'am. Could you repeat that for me?
Sure. Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment?
Yes.
And have you been arrested on these charges, specifically count 1, the conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act?
He was already in custody, so he was not taken into custody for these charges. However, he was booked for the charges in the Fulton County Jail.
And he was served with the arrest warrants on this.
Yes.
Has Ms. Abbasi advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for the charge that you are pleading to?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 10 years to serve, commuted to the time you have served in this case? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that this sentence should run concurrently with the sentence that you are already serving for 19 SC 168236? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the court does not have to accept this recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
And the court can sentence you to the maximum on this charge?
I understand.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not in the
I'm sorry,
United
one
States?
moment. Please repeat the question.
Sure.
Do you
The one on
understand that the
enhancing
convictions?
sentence, that one, the one on enhancing sentence?
Yes, I just needed to explain a bit more what that means.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just like a conviction at a trial would, and that this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, your right to hold public office, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, and transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you went to trial, you had the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights? And after I say each right, I'll ask you to respond, okay? The right to trial by jury,
Yes.
the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself,
Yes.
the right to confront witnesses against you,
Yes.
the right to assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at the trial of your case,
Yes.
the right to the presumption of innocence,
Yes.
the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence,
Yes, ma'am.
the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence,
Yes, ma'am.
the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt,
Yes.
and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges at the trial.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No, ma'am.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183-572, how do you plead to count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have 4 years from today's date to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness and constitutionality of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that you have 30 days in which to appeal your conviction based on your plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you also understand that you have until the end of this term of court to file a motion seeking to withdraw your guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if this case were to proceed and continue with trial, Your Honor, evidence has shown and will further show that Mr. Ryan conspired with others to participate in the Young Slime Life gang through a pattern of racketeering activity, and multiple defendants and unindicted co-conspirators have committed overt acts to further this conspiracy, including drug sales, aggravated assault, and murder, also including social media posts asserting the violent nature and dominance of Young Slime Life, aka YSL. Your Honor, the court has been present for evidence regarding the February 23rd, 2019 homicide of Mr. Jamari Holmes, in which Mr. Ryan and YSL co-conspirator, Damon Blaylock, lured both Jamari Holmes, Bernard Mitchell, and Rodney Uten to an apartment at 50 Mount Zion Road, which is in the Cleveland Avenue area. The evidence came out that during the course of that incident, that Mr. Ryan, along with Mr. Blaylock, emerged from the apartment complex, shooting at the vehicle which Mr. Holmes, Mr. Uten, and Mr. Mitchell were in, shooting Mr. Holmes in the head. After this incident, a few hours later, Mr. Ryan is seen posting on social media, on a public social media post, saying that YSL makes the news. Right, there has been other social media posts in which Mr. Ryan has promoted or enhanced the reputation of YSL. Your Honor, the state intended to show further evidence that once Mr. Ryan was convicted of the homicide of Mr. Holmes while in prison, he continued to enhance the reputation, power, and territory of YSL, specifically when YSL co-conspirator and co-defendant Christian Eppinger was given a bond for shooting at an Atlanta police officer. Mr. Ryan, while on a contraband phone in prison, posted on his social media accounts, he flashed the YSL sign and stated, "We're coming to get you. YSL shit, free my N-word bris, F the DA, the gangway, we catching bonds on this shit." Your Honor, this is the evidence that the state would have intended to show if we would have continued with trial. Given the current status, Your Honor, we've made an offer to Mr. Ryan for this commuted to time served offers from concurrent with his current conviction, Your Honor. And I can approach with the documents.
You may.
Thank you.
And I wanted to just add one thing to the information about the different methods you have to file things after this plea. And that is that Misty Williams and Ms. Abbasi will represent you until either the end of this term of court or 30 days, whichever's later. And so they would be the ones to talk to about filing those things, unless either of them is permitted to withdraw before that time. They would be the ones to file those for you, okay?
No.
All right, Ms. Abbasi, is there anything that the defense wants to add to the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I have had the honor really of representing Mr. Ryan along with Misty Williams, who I'm quite disappointed she could not be here today for an important day. This trial has been exhausting for everybody, and that certainly includes Mr. Ryan, who has been going through the court system since he was 15 years old. We categorically and adamantly deny that YSL is the criminal, dangerous street gang, which it's been made out to be. through this trial. We're actually quite happy with the record which was established during the presentation of the state's evidence of the alleged murder of Mr. Jamari Holmes. This plea today, Mr. Ryan is making a decision which is going to be the best for his future, what future he has, because he's already serving a life sentence. Were he to be convicted and sentenced to additional time, he would remain in custody. As I stated, we think the record established will strongly support his appeal, and hopefully, when his conviction is overturned, we don't want him sitting in prison for something else. Certainly not for actions he took when he was younger, and actions he took which are largely a product of how he grew up. As I stated, Your Honor, Mr. Ryan was 15 years old at the time of the Jamari Holmes murder. You've seen through the text messages, he was out at all different hours, doing all different things, which I don't think anyone would want their 15-year-old to be out doing. And so that is where he was. And so he did adopt the people who were around him, the people who could support him, the people in his neighborhood who grouped themselves, calling themselves YSL. Mr. Ryan at no point was trying to advance a criminal.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She supported his disastrous economic agenda,
being a young person, largely on his own, and this is where he's ended up. I would like to say that there's been some sort of rehabilitative function here since he was sentenced to prison. It doesn't appear that that has happened. As you've heard, some of his additional cases are within the prison system. It would be wonderful if some of the money spent on a case like this could possibly be invested in the future of people like Mr. Ryan, who go into custody at such a young age and who really then are not given the resources to make the changes that they really would like to make to have a productive future. With all of that said, I think Mr. Ryan has grown up a lot during this trial. He doesn't want to sit through this anymore. He doesn't want to ever be back in a courtroom ever again, Your Honor. He's heard about all sorts of incidents, which the 2015 crimes, he was 11 years old. Mr. Ryan's most sincere wish is to move on with his life, to put this behind him. And we thank the court for the opportunity to resolve the case in this way and not drag it out any further than it has been.
All right.
He just would like to thank the court, Judge.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Ryan, I just want to make sure that you understand that this is ultimately, the decision is yours to make, not your attorneys. And I appreciate that both Ms. Abbasi and Misty Williams have been available and giving you legal advice and guidance, but it's ultimately your decision. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and do you in fact want to plead guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you've had enough time to think about it and to discuss it with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Ms. Bossi, have you and or Mr. Williams talked to Mr. Ryan about the benefits and drawbacks of all of his different options?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I find that there is a factual basis for the guilty plea to count one, the conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. Whatever the difference of opinion may be with regard to what YSL is or isn't, and what Mr. Ryan may or may not have intended, there is a factual basis that exists from the record as it already is in this case to support the necessary elements of the conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. And I have heard many of the alleged overt acts and the conspiracy evidence to advance the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity and to control personal property and money. And I find that the factual basis for that exists. and I am going to accept Mr. Ryan's guilty plea. I find it to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences of this plea, and I'm going to sentence in accord with the recommendation that both of the state and the defense have worked hard to negotiate here, which is a sentence of 10 years commuted to time served and to be run concurrently with the sentence that Mr. Ryan is currently serving. And certainly within the court's consideration is the knowledge that Mr. Ryan is at this time serving a life sentence for the murder of Mr. Holmes. And while I understand that that is on appeal right now, those are the facts as they exist right now. So that is the sentence of this court. Mr. Ryan, at 20 years old, you have most of your life ahead of you, and I don't know what it is going to hold with regard to your appeal or anything after that. But whether it is more years in custody or whether at some point in time you see the light of day to the outside world again, which is very likely considering your age, as long as you behave yourself while you're incarcerated and do not continue to either commit crimes in prison or violate any of the prison rules. If you can be on the straight and narrow, then somebody your age, after serving some amount of time, is probably going to be considered favorably for parole. And you just have to keep that in mind, that you need to be looking out for sort of the long run and not playing the short game, but playing the long game so that you have a future in front of you still. So that is your sentence, and I wish you luck, and I wish that with further maturity, much like Ms. Abbasi has said that you have already exhibited throughout the course of this trial, that you are able to make better decisions and steer your life in a better direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Matthews, are y'all ready? All right. You may. Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and, where's Mr. Roster? Give you these documents, and then is that indictment?
All right, we don't have any fast forward time.
All right, so we already have the signed copy of the indictment. Mr. Huey and Mr. Ryan have both signed, so I have that already. Yes.
All right, so that was Rodarius Ryan. As they stated, he is currently serving for a murder that is not related to this case, but he was tried for his RICO charge for his association, just his affiliation with the group. So,
all right, and Sergeant, if you can swear in Mr.
Okay, here's
Huey.
our next one. We'll come back to him.
Yes. My name is Marquavius Huey.
Governor, we have just received the redacted document here, so if I can have an opportunity just to execute the.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good. We have a little pause here. So that was interesting about Rodarius Ryan's plea, because he's been incarcerated for at least 2, maybe 3 years. So, and his case is on appeal. It sounds like from all the other talk that he will win that appeal, even in the testimony of the most key witness for him today, that was supposed to be an eyewitness to this murder that he committed. She was found to be lying on the stand and had made up some things. So if he gets that overturned.
And Mr. Matthews, just so that the record is clear, I know that y'all are just now signing the, I guess it's still a, 5-page document? That this is not the first time you're seeing the most of what's in that document, correct?
Absolutely
this is
not.
right.
We've
So
seen this
there were a couple of items removed from the sentencing acknowledgments at your request. Is that right?
That is correct. Your
Okay.
Honor.
And otherwise, other than that section 4, everything has essentially stayed the same with regard to the rest of the document. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
All right. And you and Mr. Matthews and Mr. Huey were aware of the changes that were getting made?
Yes.
All right. Do y'all need any additional time to look over the refreshed document?
We do not, Your
All
Honor.
right.
I've reviewed it, and we are ready to
All
proceed.
right. Sounds good.
Okay, I have it.
No, that's all right. It's essentially the same. Okay, thank you. So you've got the a waiver of rights and this separate kind of list of the charges and the sentences. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the indictment is with Ms. Rosser. I'm ready whenever.
Mr. Huey, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence shall give in the manner now pending before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hands down.
I think he already got sworn, so you're double sworn at this point.
Please state your true and correct legal name.
Marquavius Huey, MarQuavius Huey.
And are you the same Marquavius Huey on indictment 22 SC 183572?
Yes.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
How old are you?
28.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade high school diploma.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you were in this indictment charged with count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, which carried a sentence of 5 to 20 years?
Yes.
Count 3, you were initially charged with armed robbery, which carried a sentence of 10 to 20 years or life.
Yes.
You were charged with count 4 and 5 of this indictment, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which each carry a sentence of 1 to 20 years.
Yes.
You were charged with count 6 and count 7 in this indictment, which you charged on possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Yes.
And that carried a sentence of 5 years to serve consecutive to any other count in the indictment.
Yes.
You were also charged with armed robbery in counts 14 and 15.
Yes.
Also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for count 16 and 17.
Yes.
You were charged with hijacking a motor vehicle in the first degree.
Yes.
You were initially charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony,
Yes.
counts 19 and 20. You were charged with 4 counts of participation in criminal street gang activity, which were counts 21, 22, 23, and 46.
Yes.
And you were charged with possession of a weapon by an incarcerated individual, which was count 44, and possession of a telecommunication device by an incarcerated individual, which was count 45. You understand that those were your initial charges in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges?
Yes.
And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to go over this waiver of rights form with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this your signature on this document on page 4 of this document?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorneys, Carrington Matthews Sr. and Carrington Matthews Jr., about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charge in this indictment, including any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need any more time to discuss this matter with your attorney?
Nope.
Are you satisfied with their counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
Yes.
Do you waive any defects, if any, with respect to the indictment?
Yes.
Is it your understanding, have you been arrested on all of the charges contained within this indictment?
Yes.
And Mr. Matthews Jr., are you aware of any other outstanding warrants for these charges?
We are not aware of any.
Have your attorneys advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge that you are pleading to?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court the following sentence?
Yes.
Let me tell you the sentence first.
Oh.
As to count 1, which is conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, the state's recommendation is 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, the balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 3, armed robbery, based on the negotiations, the state will reduce the armed robbery to robbery and offer a sentence of 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with count 1, the balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 4, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the state will recommend 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1 and count 3, balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 5, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the state agrees to null pros or dismiss that count. As to count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the state's recommendation is 5 years to serve, consecutive to counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 44 to be suspended. As to count 7, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the state will null pros or dismiss that count. As to count 14, which is armed robbery, will reduce that to robbery, 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1, 3, and 4, balance of 11 years on probation. Count 15, armed robbery, reduced to robbery, 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, and 14, balance of 11 years on probation. Count 16 will be null pros or dismissed. Count 17, that count will merge with count 15. Count 18 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Count 19, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, will be 5 years to serve, 5 years to serve consecutive to counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, 17, and 44, but concurrent with count 6, and that will be suspended. Count 20 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Count 21 will be 5 years to serve, concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, and 44. Count 22 will be null pros or dismissed by the state, as well as count 23 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Count 44, possession of a weapon by an incarcerated individual, will be 5 years to serve, concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 17. And counts 45 and 46 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Do you understand that that's the state's recommendation?
Yes.
Do you understand that the total sentence is 25 years to serve 9 years in custody with a balance of 14 years? 9 of those 14 years will be served on probation and 5 years will be suspended. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that the court does not have to accept that recommendation?
Yes.
And the court can sentence you to the maximum of each charge and can run those charges consecutively, one after the other.
Yes.
Do you understand this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction, as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes.
Do you understand if you are currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on your answering a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes.
And do you understand that there were several special conditions of probation that you must adhere to, which are contained within this documentation?
Yes.
And have you had an opportunity to go over each of these special conditions with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also go over with your attorneys your sentencing acknowledgments regarding this plea agreement?
Yes.
And is this also your signature on this documentation with your attorney going over each of the each of the special conditions of probation?
Yes.
And did you fully understand the special conditions of probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hilton, can you pass that document up to the court, please? Thank you.
Did you want to review it before I continue? Did you want to review it before I continue?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are not a United States citizen? A guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just like a conviction at a trial would, and that this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes.
Do you understand that neither the courts, your attorney, nor the district attorney's office has anything to do with parole, the Department of Corrections, or the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and no one can guarantee parole no matter what anyone has told you?
Yes.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, your right to hold public office, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights? And after each right, I'll ask you to respond. The right to trial by jury,
Yes.
the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself,
Yes.
the right to confront witnesses against you,
Yes.
the right to assistive counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at the trial of your case,
Yes.
the right to presumption of innocence,
Yes.
the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence,
Yes.
the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence,
Yes.
the right to have the charge against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt,
Yes.
and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183572, how do you plead to the charges in that indictment?
I plead guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you understand you have 4 years from today's date to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness and constitutionality of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have 30 days in which to appeal your conviction based on your plea today?
Yes.
And do you understand that you have until the end of this term of court to file a motion seeking to withdraw your guilty plea?
Yes.
Your Honor, if this case were to go to trial, the state would expect, or if we were to continue this trial, the state would expect to show or evidence has shown and will show that Mr. Huey conspired with others to participate in YSL through a pattern of racketeering activity, and multiple defendants, as well as unindicted co-conspirators, have committed overt acts to further this conspiracy, to include drug sales, aggravated assault, and murder. Also, it includes posting on social media, asserting the violent nature of and the dominance of Young Slime Life, aka YSL. Specifically, Mr. Huey himself participated in 2 robberies. He posted on social media and he engaged in text messages with his fellow co-conspirators. On April 26, 2019, Mr. Huey, along with another individual, armed robber Mr. Dewan Maynard, at an apartment complex located on Masaro Drive in the Buckhead neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. He robbed Mr. Maynard at gunpoint and pistol whipped him. Mr. Huey was wearing a very distinctive yellow jacket. He stole a ring, a necklace, a luxury wallet, and other items. He then fled the scene in a black Mustang. Portions of this robbery, Your Honor, were caught on surveillance video. After the robbery, Mr. Huey was seen on his social media account with the ring and necklace that was identical to the items that were stolen from Mr. Maynard. Additionally, on IG, on Instagram, Your Honor, on social media, there were several pictures of Mr. Huey photographed next to a black Mustang. There were several pictures. Lastly, there were pictures of Mr. Huey on his social media wearing the same distinctive yellow jacket that was seen on the surveillance video. Based on that evidence, Your Honor, arrest warrants were issued for Mr. Huey. While on bond for the April 2019 armed robbery, Your Honor, on October 1st, 2020, Mr. Huey went to the apartments located at 250 Fulton Street, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, to meet with Mr. Gary Holloman. Gary Holloman, who is now deceased, told law enforcement officers on the night that he was robbed that Mr. Huey, who he knew, asked to meet with him so that Mr. Holloman could give Mr. Huey money to put on another co-conspirator to Aquarius Mender's books or commissary at the Fulton County Jail. Aquarius Mender, who is a co-defendant and co-conspirator, is the nephew of Gary Holloman. Mr. Mender and Mr. Huey were friends or are friends. Mr. Holloman agreed to meet with Mr. Huey at the location. While at the location, Mr. Huey, along with another individual, approached Mr. Holloman. One person had an assault rifle. They took from Mr. Holloman his car and his money. They also robbed another young lady by the name of Misha Coppage. Mr. Huey and the other unidentified individual fled the scene and left. Mr. Holloman immediately called the police. When police arrived, Mr. Holloman was able to use another cell phone to track his phone. He was able to track that phone going in the direction of I-75 South, and ultimately that phone was located on Oak Drive, which is in the Cleveland Avenue area, which is the area or territory for Young Slime Life. Also, Mr. Holloman was able to show police officers the social media pages of Mr. Huey to identify him. Initially, the police marked this case as an information, and the case was not initially investigated. However, about 1 month later, Mr. Holloman went to the police headquarters, spoke with investigators. He was able to pick Mr. Huey out of the photographic lineup. Subsequently, investigator Marissa Viverito, who was formerly with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, found a jail call with Aquarius Mender, Mr. Mender's mother, as well as Gary Holloman discussing the robbery, and Mr. Holloman discussing what occurred to him. Arrest warrants were taken out for Mr. Huey. He was initially arrested in November of 2020. During that arrest and pursuant to a search warrant, his home was searched. In that search, they found 2 rifle handguns. Also, they found items belonging to an individual by the name of Chandler Durham. During that search warrant, they seized Mr. Huey's phones and pursuant to a search warrant, did a search of those phones. Upon seeing the items from Chandler Durham, investigator Viverito checked the Atlanta Police Department database to find out if there were any police reports associated with the Chandler Durham. She found a police report from March 12, 2020. In that report, Chandler Durham reported that while he was working at a music studio, his car and additional items to include a luxury bag were stolen. After Huey's phone, and she saw a few text messages of note. She saw a text conversation on March 12, 2020 between Jeffrey Williams and Mr. Huey. Jeffrey Williams told Mr. Huey that they needed to take that shit back. Mr. Huey denied involvement in taking the items and blamed it on another person. Mr. Williams then told Mr. Huey in this text message, if he doesn't take it back, he's going to die. Also found in Huey's cell phone were 2 incidents in which Mr. Huey and Mr. Williams were in conversation with each other regarding rival gang member Rashawn Bennett, aka YSL Lucci. On January 19th, 2020, Mr. Williams sent a flyer to Huey with a performance location of YSL Lucci. The text message read, handle that tonight, slat. Then Huey responded, slat. Your Honor, based on the state's understanding, slat means slime love all the time. Then on September 2nd, 2020, Mr. Huey sent a flyer to Mr. Williams with another performance location of Mr. Rashawn Bennett. Mr. Williams texted, flatty, handle, and stay very low. Huey's response was slat and for sure, I've been out the way. And appreciate you for everything, my brother. Never about money with me, I'm built on loyalty. Williams' response was slat, handle that, I got you. In 2021, we were able to recover another phone from Mr. Huey after he was subsequently arrested on grand jury warrants. When we did a search warrant of that phone, there was additional communication between Mr. Williams and Mr. Huey. Mr. Huey told Mr. Williams on November 14, 2021, you know I'm ready to handle the business and you'll sit down if I got to about any one of y'all on my mama. This text message followed information that was provided to Investigator Rico by Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland, during an October 2021 interview, advised Investigator Rico that he was aware of a potential plot to harm another another rival gang member, Kelvin Watts, also known as Shell Kel, at a venue, Diamonds of Atlanta on Northside Drive. Mr. Coleman advised that he was aware that Huey was to participate in this plot to harm Watts, and he attempted to tell Huey not to participate. Lastly, Your Honor, on February 18, 2022, while housed at the Fulton County Jail, along with Aquarius Mender, they were both housed in the same cell. There was a search of that dorm specifically, and inside of the cell, there was a shank and an illegal cell phone inside of their cell that they shared. And based on what we know from other evidence that we have, that cell phone was used to communicate with other YSL members. Your Honor, this is the evidence that we believe would have come out had we continued with trial. Given where we are, Your Honor, and the charges, we made a decision to resolve this case with Mr. Huey for the offer that was relayed earlier, Your Honor. I mean, I have a copy.
All right, and with regard to the offer, I just wanted to be clear that on counts 6 and 19, which are possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, while this 5-page plea agreement document reflects that those are going to be served on probation, the intention of both parties is that those 2 counts be suspended.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Yes,
and in your global sentence, it says 5 years suspended, and so I assume that that's what y'all meant by that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Matthews?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon to this honorable court, Your Honor. I'd like to begin by expressing to the court that we emphatically and categorically deny all of the recitation that's been presented by the court with respect to some of these allegations that's been laid out by the state. However, we do recognize that there are enough factual allegations in the recitation to support each and every count to which Mr. Huey is pleading this afternoon. So we do stipulate that there is enough to move forward with this plea. For those reasons, Your Honor, we are standing before this court to talk to this court about the acceptance of responsibility with respect to Mr. Marquavius Huey. Your Honor, Mr. Marquavius Huey was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He lived in the Jonesboro South community, a neighborhood project in the Atlanta community. He grew up there. He's seen a lot of things in his short 28-year life. His father was murdered in 2010, and he's been without a father for a number of years. He's been raised by his mother as a single parent. He has a number of siblings. There have been times when Mr. Huey and his mother and his family have been homeless and have lived out of a car. So he's had a very, very hard life as it relates to his upbringing. Notwithstanding that, Your Honor, he did manage to graduate from high school. Mr. Huey, Your Honor, now has 2 children. He's 28 years old. He has 2 children. He has a 5-year-old son, Your Honor. He has a 2-year-old little daughter that was born in July of 2022. He has never met or seen his daughter in person until today, as she's here in this courtroom. He recognizes that choices puts him before this court in this case. Your Honor, we are asking this court to take into consideration that he has no prior felony convictions. I've had a very long time to get to know Mr. Huey because I've been with Mr. Huey on a regular, daily basis during the week since January of 2023. I've got a chance to know him. I've got a chance to work with him on his case regularly. And he wants to, when he gets out of custody, Your Honor, he wants to do a number of things. 2 in particular. He wants to start and become affiliated with a nonprofit organization where he can be able to talk to young children, teenagers, because he was a teenager when he lost his father, and things begin to take a turn for Mr. Huey. He wants to be able to tell teenagers, young boys, young Black boys, he wants to be able to say to them, don't do what I did, and you have another way in which you can go. And he wants to be able to share his experiences in that way. I have linked Mr. Huey up with an organization called Young Generation Movement, and I've known that nonprofit organization and the founder of that organization for a long period of time. He's also present in this courtroom, and I've linked Mr. Huey up with them so that when Mr. Huey gets out of custody, he will be able to have an organization that can mentor him, that he can align himself with, where he can begin to engage himself with anti-violence nonprofit conduct and mentoring other young people. He also, in terms of being able to earn an income, because he is now, Your Honor, if this court accepts this plea, Mr. Huey will now, for the first time, be a convicted felon. He is not first offender eligible. He wants to get his commercial driver's license, Your Honor, and he wants to get a trucking company and be able to earn a living for himself, because he recognizes that it's going to be a challenge for him to be able to go out and apply for jobs and be able to get income by getting an employer to hire him. So he's going to focus and target himself to be able to fend for himself so that he can take care of his young children that he has helped to bring into this world. Your Honor, we are here before this court because it's an acceptance of responsibility. We recognize that this has been a very long, enduring trial, and we have come to a point where we have painstakingly negotiated with the state of Georgia, and we've come up with a negotiated resolution that we believe is one that is fair. We believe that is sufficient to recognize the seriousness of the charges that are before the court. And we believe it's one that will cause Mr. Huey to be able to see the light of day in a reasonable period of time. Mr. Huey has been in custody. I'd like to enter into the record, Your Honor, as Defendants Exhibit 1 for sentencing purposes, a proof of incarceration from the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Huey, through the computations of the various times when he was arrested on these charges and released, and from the time that he's currently been in custody to the present, he has approximately 4 years under his belt against that 9-year sentence, and that 9-year sentence is parolable. So we're going to enter that as an exhibit before the court.
All right, that'll be Defendants Exhibit 1 to this plea hearing. And as you know, and as I'm sure you have shared with Mr. Huey, it's ultimately the Department of Corrections that calculates the time served portion of the sentence, so it'll ultimately be up to them, but I will include that as a part of my sentencing sheet as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to represent Mr. Marquavius Huey along with my son, Attorney Carlton Matthews Jr., who also would like to address the court at this time, Your Honor. So we're asking this court to accept the negotiation that has been represented to the court, and Mr. C.J. Matthews.
Yes, good afternoon to this honorable court.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matthews.
I've been gracious with this opportunity to represent and serve Mr. Huey. Mr. Huey is an honorable young man. Mr. Huey does not allow his mistakes to define him, but he is remorseful, Your Honor. He has learned, grown, and became a better man during this trial. Mr. Huey will have a release date, Your Honor. And I'm confident in him that he'll be a working class citizen in society when he is released. We thank this honorable court and we respectfully ask this court to accept this plea on today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Huey, I am sure that Mr. Matthews Sr. and Mr. Matthews Jr. have, I know that they have been working with you and negotiating with the state for I'm sure the entire course of this trial and proceeding, but very, very hard over the last week and a couple of days to get where we are right now. And I know that you know that given the severity and the number of charges that you were facing, that had you been convicted of all of those charges at trial, you were looking at the possibility of 3 consecutive life sentences, plus I think about 100 years after that. So the fact that the state is recommending jointly with your attorneys that your total sentence be 25 years with 9 of those to serve is, it's frankly remarkable and something that you should not take for granted or take lightly at all. These are very serious charges, and I hear what both Mr. Matthews have said about the challenges facing you in your life, and I am sorry for the loss of your father. One would hope that to have anybody that they love taken from them in a violent way like murder might have an impact upon their lives that would lead them in the right direction, but it's not particularly surprising that sometimes that's not what happens and it goes in a worse direction instead. I hope that with your age and with having really been faced with the distinct possibility of spending the entirety of the rest of your life in prison. The fact that you are getting this opportunity is not going to be wasted. I hope that you appreciate what the Matthews have done to go out of their way to line up somebody to be looking out for you when you are released from prison. And I want to ask you, just like I have asked both Mr. Nichols and Mr. Ryan, is this your decision to enter this guilty plea? Because no matter what your attorney's advice is, it's ultimately up to you whether to plead guilty or continue with the trial. So is this what you want to do?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And have you had enough time to consider all of the different scenarios and to discuss everything you wanted to with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. I think it's very clear that this plea is to your benefit, considering the potential downside of moving forward with the continued trial. I find there to be a factual basis to this plea. I appreciate the fact that y'all have stipulated that there is a factual basis. And I find the plea to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences, and I will accept it as such. And I will sentence in accord with the negotiated recommendation. I'm not going to read everything out again. We've thankfully got it in writing for the sentence sheet, but in accord with what was put on the record and what is reflected in this this document, with a total sentence of 25 years to serve 9 in custody, balance of 14 years after that, 9 of those on probation and 5 suspended. And I'm going to impose the special conditions that you have already acknowledged and acknowledged that you would abide by. And, you know, somebody with a high school diploma, which is more than a whole lot of people ever achieve. So you've already achieved and proven that you can achieve good things. And who is only 28 years old, and who can really look down and already see the light of day for a release date. You need to make sure that during your time incarcerated that you don't pull any of the kind of thing that you have been, you know, that you actually are pleading guilty to, at least some of, by having contraband or in any other way getting in trouble, because that's not going to bode well. I am going to recommend a transition program for you. I know that there's a lot of different job training available in our correction system, so I hope that you take advantage of that. And you know, whether it's a commercial driver's license or whether you find something else that you want to do while you're in there, be making good use of your time while you're in there and furthering yourself. And you have had a fine example next to you for the past 2 years of what somebody can do with their lives. So don't forget about that, and be the father that you need to be and that you ought to be to your very young children. They're still going to be very young when you get out. And please make sure that you abide by all your probationary conditions, because if you don't, then you're going to be back to see me. And because I recognize how much of a break you are getting right now, I'm probably not going to be as lenient if you come back before me again, because you are getting a huge opportunity to turn your life around. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so that's the sentence of the court, and I want to wish you good luck and good fortune. You can get through the next few years, and then you can have the rest of your life to do good work with.
Can you address the court?
Yes. I should have asked that. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Judge. Thank you.
I want to thank the court and thank God. And I want to apologize to my kids, my family, and everybody who done supported me in this stressful process. And, I plan to do my time, come back, be a better man.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. All right, let's take a recess. Hmm?
All right. Hey, everybody. Shout out to the 19 people on this live. I'm so excited that you're here. So let's recap a little bit while we're on the break. This young man, Huey, we didn't get all of the evidence so far with him, but I don't think he would have beat his charges. And so far, he had not been. The defense has done a job of separating him from Young Thug. A lot of things that we heard her read into the record, some of that evidence didn't get in front of the juror. And as I explained, that I have watched this case with the lens of the juror and have also had privy to the non-jury days where we get to hear some evidence that did not follow the rules of evidence and getting admitted. So, but I mean, he beat a lot of.
Hey there, Young Thug Trial watchers. This is a
lot of
law and
time.
crime legal alert. A mother was recently awarded millions of dollars in a lawsuit against baby formula manufacturers after her premature baby was diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC, after receiving bovine-based formula. The lawsuits allege that Enfamil and Similac premature formulas are linked to NEC, but manufacturers failed to warn the public of the risks and instead targeted them with false advertising. So if your premature baby was diagnosed with NEC after they were fed Enfamil or Similac, you may qualify for compensation. And one of our legal sponsors is partnering with Wagstaff Law Firm. This is a national firm renowned for their expertise to ensure that eligible claims are thoroughly presented. Visit babyformuladamages.com/YTT.
Wow. I didn't even know about that. But back to what we were discussing. So yeah, that was Huey. I don't have a lot to say about him because we didn't get into very much of the other charges that they listed. The armed robbery, that person was going to come and testify, but they had put distance with that between him and Young Thug. Even the text message that she said where he texted him or and said that you need to give that stuff back. Like, the defense has done a good job of painting Young Thug as someone who was trying to motivate these co-defendants to do better and put them in positions to do better. But I really don't have a lot to say about him other than that special conditions piece. I don't know if he'll have to come back and testify or if he plans to come back and testify. So that's very interesting. That's very interesting to me. And if so, he would be the first one that I've heard anything about any special conditions that gives me the idea that he may have to come back and testify or have agreed to come back and testify. Cormavius, I think that's his name, Nichols, who pled out yesterday, he would have been able to go home on yesterday, but he refused to agree to testify. So I corrected some things, well, gave some more context at the beginning of this live, because it's possible that he may really only serve 6 to 9 months. That's all kind of up in the air. There's an 85% rule that I didn't know about. And of course, there's the good behavior and all of that piece. The second defendant who pled out today, look, I have to go back to our notes. Okay. So Rodarius Ryan, he was the first one to plead out today. And he was really just a co-defendant in this case to make everybody else look bad. He really, his only, and I say that lightly, but there's so much that has happened with this case and so much evidence and all these different defendants. There are quite a few defendants that are being tried separately that will, may or may not, may or may not have court after this, right? But he was accused of killing this 13-year-old boy. I want to say he was about 13, maybe even 12. And there was a young lady that testified as to she was supposed to be a part of the group that lured this kid, but also she was supposed to have witnessed some things, and her testimony was just deemed to be uncredible or not credible at all. She was found to be lying even on the stand and all of that. As well as that murder conviction that he has. He's serving a life sentence right now.
When Donald Trump was president, life was a lot better. I trust him on the economy and on keeping us safe. Freedom to choose is also important to me, but he's
I thought I knew a lot about our Irish roots. I was surprised to learn so many more things.
There's the family name.
Child, I just realized I've been talking for a very long time and the mic has been muted. Probably since I checked the thing to see what was going on. Anyway, court seems to be over. I will be back tomorrow. I really want to see what this means for Young Thug. The mistrial motion is still on the table. So is everyone else going to plead out and we get the mistrial with Thug and the state gets to retry him again? Child, with no witnesses and no evidence and all of this drama. I don't see that happening. But you never know what's going to go down with the state. Or is he going to plead out? We don't know. But I can tell you one thing: Brian Steele is not one to play with. He has mollywopped the state ever since Paige Whitaker has come on, and he's even checked her on a few things. The man knows the law, and he is very persuasive, and he is very detailed, and I am here for it. And Matt Sharp, straight up dog. Like, he had Woody ready to square up with him on his cross. So I'm gonna see how these men are gonna show up for their clients. I have no doubt that they're gonna bring the heat. And I'll be back on tomorrow. I appreciate you guys so much. Please just kind of see what you can be doing in the community with these kids. Is there a space at all? Doesn't have to be anything big. I mean, one person can reach 5, 5 can reach 50, 50 can reach 500. All it takes is one. Um, even as much as just introducing the conversations. We got to do something. Every kid has a story. Anywho, I won't stay on that soapbox. I appreciate you guys so much. You know I do. And we'll be back on tomorrow. It's your girl Duchess, and I'm out.